let's give you an update on Goldie Hahn here. So I took this fuel tank and tried to sandblast all this tank sealant off of it, and you can see kind of how that went. This plate is actually in fairly decent shape, but the rest of it, I couldn't even get all of the sealant out, and it started to blast holes through the bottom. And actually, I don't know if it'll show up, but if we hold it up to the light, you can kind of see maybe some of those pinholes there. It is, yeah, it is pretty bad. So while it could potentially still be repaired somehow, I think I've tracked down a good one that will be a lot less hassle. So while I'm waiting for that, and thus the engine's not going to run, two things that need to be done. One, I need to go through the carburetor, and the other thing I want to do is get this transmission shifting. Right now this is pretty jammed up, it really doesn't move. To get to the linkage, I need the deck off, and currently it's sitting on the deck. You can tell it's not that heavy a machine. I'm not that strong. What have I learned tonight? Well, basically, I've disconnected the linkage to what I'm going to call the primary chain case. If I disconnect the linkage, I've moved it all the way over there, and the shifter mechanism now works freely. So the problem appears to lie in the sliding mechanism here. You can see it's got a boot here. Presumably it would have had a boot on the other side. It seems to bind up a little bit. And so that's going to require a little bit of work. If I kind of reach in here and find the front, I can help it along and get it to slide. But my guess is that these boots were to keep some grease or oil in this shaft area so that it would slide more freely. Let's take a look at the carburetor here off of the Hahn. It's missing its pickup screen here. I'm not that concerned about that because this one's intact, and that's the one that does the filtering before it goes into the engine. But it could use just a general cleanup overall. The main thing we're going to be concerned about is the diaphragm that's in here for the fuel pump. And I noticed that it's a little bit sticky on full throttle. Might as well tear into this and see what's going on. Only hurt a little bit. Has definitely kind of shrunk in this corner. It's not really lined up anymore. Oh, it's slipped down, and they've just screwed it on there anyway. Whoa. Ew. So, okay, for one thing, this piece is to protect the diaphragm from the spring. There's really no need to protect the housing from the spring. It'll survive. But you really don't want the spring riding directly on this rubber. That's what this is for. So somebody's been in here and put it back together wrong, for starters. And evidently, this is where they hid their cocaine. And then it pumps out into here, which is, you can see the screwdriver there. So that's going to be dumping fuel into that, what used to be the bowl is long gone. And then picked up into here and deposited into the carburetor itself. Doesn't look too bad other than a little bit of crud. I may have to shell out for a new diaphragm, I guess. That's been sort of custom repaired. Oh, that's why it won't come out. Oh, interesting. So normally, once you pull the spring off of this, this just pulls off and then the choke plate comes out. But this has been, you see that big gob of, you know, epoxy or something here. And this has been built up with a bit of metal and epoxy as well. So this is pretty permanent. Interesting. All right, well, somebody got really creative, which is kind of funny because actually, of all the parts to get, you can actually get carburetor parts pretty easily for this. So we'll just leave that be. We're not going to mess with it. All right, anyway, that's enough fun for now.